If your growth target is big and your price point is high, referral dependency becomes more dangerous because one lost client creates a bigger gap than what referrals can reliably fill. Many service businesses plateau and just assume it's the market or this is just how our industry works. If you have a growth target, that means the higher the price point, then the less or fewer clients that you actually need to hit that target. But then it becomes harder to hit and maintain if you're only relying on referrals as your main growth channel. So for example, losing a 10K client hurts more than losing a 1K client. Which is why in previous videos before we spoke about lag risk, which is how long does it take for you to replace that client and revenue if you actually lost a client. Now this reminds me of a fractional CFO conversation that I actually had earlier this year. Now this person does about $250,000 in annual revenue and she's looking to double her revenue by the end of this year. The problem is that every time she gets one referral client, she ends up losing another one. So which means she's on this constant hamster wheel of always having to replace referral clients, and as I mentioned before, may actually take longer than if she was creating her own demand. Now each client for her runs anywhere between $8,000 to $10,000 per month, which means when she loses a client, she takes a really big hit to her revenue, which then means sustaining and growing her revenue becomes even more difficult. Now to actually correct this, she decided to start creating her own demand that she actually controls. One of the ways that she started doing this was to post content on LinkedIn more consistently. Now not only did it bring in more qualified conversations for her firm, but it also allowed her speaking opportunities that expanded beyond her personal network, which also then created more qualified conversations and sales opportunities for her business. So her main issue wasn't a matter of skill or talent or that she didn't deliver results before or she didn't have case studies or client testimonials to actually show that she was capable of doing and delivering for her clients. Her main problem was because of referral dependency, meaning she relied solely on referrals to get clients and build her business. It put somewhat of a growth ceiling on her revenue. But once she started creating content, she automatically removed that ceiling from her business and her revenue. And now she's in a position where her revenue potential is really unlimited. Alright, so now let's get to actually scoring your growth cap risk. So there are two numbers that you're going to need for this. The first one is what your revenue target is over the next 12 months. The second one is what's the average value in terms of revenue value for each client that you close for your business. Step 2 is that you're going to take your revenue target that you have over the next 12 months, divide it by what's the average revenue or client value for each client that you actually close, and then that number is how many clients you need to close over that 12-month period to actually hit your revenue target. Now I want you to ask yourself this question and be completely honest. Based on how many clients you close from referrals on a monthly basis on average, can you realistically actually hit your growth target if you relied solely on referrals or only on referrals? Now, if you're telling me that it's 100% plausible with referrals only, then that means you're in a good place, assuming that none of those clients actually churn. If it's between 70% to 95%, that means you actually need light support along with referrals to actually hit your growth target. If it's between 50% to 65%, it means you need additional pipeline channels or sources plus better conversion to actually hit your revenue growth target. And if it's less than 50%, it means that it's completely unrealistic unless you actually build a demand engine that you control, which means you can ramp up and ramp down activities that's necessary to hit that particular goal or target whenever you need to. Now, based on where you fall, you may need to adjust one or two numbers to actually hit that target, whether it's the price, whether it's your growth target, or whether it's your pipeline sources. So here are 3 scenarios to actually think about this. Scenario 1, price remains the same, your growth target remains the same, but you actually need 2 to 3 non-referral pipeline sources to actually supplement your revenue in order to hit that goal. Scenario 2 is that your growth target remains the same, you're still relying on referrals, but then you may need to increase your prices in order to hit your growth target. Scenario 3, price remains the same, you're still relying on referrals, but you may need to lower your growth target to be able to match the reality of your particular situation. Now, if you want a more comprehensive breakdown on how referral dependency is actually creating revenue risk for your business and to what extent, I created a referral risk calculator. Now, what you're going to do is all the numbers that we've actually gathered over the past 5 videos when we're talking about your revenue risk, you want to take all of those numbers. So we're talking about the concentration risk score that you had, the lag risk, single point of failure, conversion strength, and this video from your growth cap risk. And we're going to use those numbers to actually calculate your score and your exposure. Now I'm going to put a link for the referral risk calculator in the description below. Click on that link. Once you do, you get on the page, enter your email address, answer 9 questions, get your score and specific recommendations on how to reduce your revenue risk. And if you want the full details on referral risk models and what your overall score means, you can check out the definitive guide to referral dependency. I'll also put that in the description below. And you can scroll to the section that says referral risk models to get a better understanding of referral dependency and your exposure to revenue risk in your business. And if you haven't as yet, be sure to check out our video on what is referral dependency. You can click here to actually watch that video right now.